Learn the basic skill of soldering copper pipe coming up next on the at-home channel at Buildipedia.com. All do-it-yourself projects require some basic skills before you can launch into them. Plumbing, of course, is no different. Hi, I'm Jeff Wilson, and today we're going to show you how to make one of the most basic connections in plumbing, soldering copper water supply line joints. It's also called sweating pipe. It's a simple operation that only requires a few tools, but it's important that you do it right so that you don't end up with any leaks. Here are the tools that you're going to need for the job. A pipe cutter, a file, steel brush, some abrasive tape, water-soluble flux and flux brush, lead-free solder, and of course, a propane torch. Now in this case, I'm using a self-igniting torch, but if you don't have a self-igniting torch, you'll also need a spark igniter. You don't ever want to light a propane torch with matches or a lighter. It's very dangerous. Plus, of course, you'll need safety gear like gloves and glasses. Here's how you'll cut the pipe. Place the tube cutter on the pipe and tighten it in place. Then rotate it around the pipe until it starts to loosen. Retighten and keep running the cutter around the tubing. Now you probably have to do this several times, but finally the cutter wheel will make it through the pipe and it'll separate. Do this for both pieces of pipe that you'll be joining. Now we need to make sure that the pipe is filed slightly where it was cut to take the little lip off from the cutter there, just enough to smooth the edge. We also need to make sure that all the parts we're going to join are very clean, so we use some abrasive tape on the pipe ends. And the steel brush on the fitting. When the copper's shiny like a new penny, it's ready for soldering. This is where the flux comes in. Flux helps keep the copper from oxidizing when it's heated, which means that the solder can bond better with the copper. Paint the pipe ends and the fitting with the flux. Fit the pieces together and rotate the pipe to make sure the flux is evenly distributed. All right, put on your safety gloves and glasses and light the torch. Now, I like to center the flame on the fitting, heat the area evenly. The tip of the light blue flame is the hottest part of the propane flame. Look for a greenish flame when the joint is ready for solder, or you can kind of repeatedly touch the solder to the joint area to see if that copper is hot enough to melt. When it's ready, quickly run the solder over the joint. Notice the liquid solder is being pulled into the joint via capillary action. Be sure to fill the joint, but try not to overfill, since solder can run down the inside of the pipe and restrict later the water flow. So the pipe's going to be extremely hot, so be careful. Now after you've soldered the fitting, give the copper just a few minutes to cool down and inspect the joint for voids or gaps in the solder. Now if you've missed a spot, just brush on a little more flux and then reheat the joint and resolder. Well, that's it, the simple process of sweating or soldering copper pipe. Just one more skill in your do-it-yourself toolbox. I'm Jeff Wilson. Thanks for joining me today. Come back for more great videos on the at-home channel at Buildipedia.com.